2 million in Thailand. Chiang Mai's population is 127,000, but out of that 127 in Chiang Mai, there's about 2,000 missionaries. And you think about that, part of the reason for that is you can go into China from there very quickly and easily, Burma, a lot of areas around there that you cannot have a gospel presence, but you can be in and out of the country sharing the gospel. And so that's Myanmar, which is also known as Burma, is 54.5 million, and Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, all those different areas around. These are areas in the 1040 window. Has anybody ever heard of the 1040 window? Okay. Some of you have, some of you haven't. So this is an area that is not much of a gospel presence. It's an area usually dominated with Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and many unreached people groups. About 62% of the 1040 window is unreached people groups. So it's an important area to be able to share the gospel in. Everywhere is an important area to share the gospel in, but with very little gospel presence, glad that we have missionaries going to this area. So you can see here I am in Bangkok Airport, maybe not the most flattering picture for me. A little tired, and also is probably one of our most frustrating airports to be in. But I want you to notice the Buddha shrine behind me. Everywhere we went, we saw those. And we flew Thai Smile Airline. There wasn't much to smile about, quite honestly. Judy and I joked about that, but God got us there. And it was the last hurdle before we got to see the grandkids, so we were, getting a little impatient too, I think. So that didn't help.
So obviously, it was great to be able to hold Peter for the first time. Would you please tell me which one again?
You push this one here to go.
Sorry, I'm having a learning curve. So this was, you see our luggage just outside the door because the grandchildren were the priority at that time, after so many hours in the air. One of the things I wanted to share with you about Thailand is their weather is 100% humidity. Literally, I took a shower every night. I took a cold shower every night. And then I stood in front of the air conditioning. And then I still wasn't cooled off. And I laid down, and it was like not until 1 or 3 o'clock in the morning before I could finally pull the sheet over top of me. But humidity, yeah. I didn't like it at all, but it was not good. It was just not my favorite part of the trip. But I was like, okay, Lord, I know I'm here to visit, so help me not think about all the stickiness of each day. But we were there during the rainy season, and so while it did rain often each day, it did not rain every single day. And one of the things that we found interesting was that the Thailand government can make it rain. I was like, wow, that's so interesting. So, I'm sorry, I'm all about interesting facts, as you heard last week on this. But they can actually seed the clouds with a chemical and make it rain. I was like, that is so fascinating. But anyhow, on to the grandkids. So we enjoyed time here with, what do I point it to?
Point it that way.
Oh, see? Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Enjoyed spending time with Ashley and Joseph and the kids. Sometimes we were in the house. Sometimes we were out and about. We often were swinging if we could be in the early morning or the late afternoon when it was not as hot. But Hadassah loves her swing. Morning time. Oh, yeah. Morning time. Granddad gets up early, and so as soon as he heard Peter squawking out there a little bit, he was out there to quick to get him so that Ashley could have a little bit more rest. Well, Hadessa soon caught onto this, and so she usually would sleep till 9 o'clock, but nope. The whole time we were there, she was awake at 7 or 8, and Ashley's like, what is going on? And I was like, we've changed her schedule. But morning time was just a great time. So John and Peter spent lots of time together in the mornings. And so we were, this is Hadessa in the morning and Grandma in the morning. Her little boo-boo on her nose, I just have to tell you about that. So she'd fallen and scraped her nose, and so I had taken antibiotic cream with me, and so I was putting that on her every morning. And so if I forgot, she pointed to it to remind me. Morning bed. He is a tough cookie to get to go to sleep if he just doesn't want to. But this was one of his times of sleeping. A night market. There were many times that we would, I'm just going to say, we didn't cook in the evenings at all. We didn't have to. It was too hot in the kitchen, and it's affordable there. So we went out to eat pretty much every single night. This is night market, and one of the night markets. And so we were having smoothies, which was a regular thing. We needed it to be refreshed and cool off. This is passion fruit. This is what it looks like on the outside if you're not familiar with it.
Dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit?
Yeah, you said passion, but it's dragon. Yeah.
I asked you. Oh, wow. Dragon fruit. This is what it looks like on the inside. You just peel it back from the center at the top and enjoy. This was grape leaves, not grape leaves.
Banana leaves.
Banana leaves with rice, and I don't remember what else that a neighbor friend made for them and for us to enjoy and try. So I know it had honey in it. So I know they soak them, and I don't remember what else, but you can actually eat them. Granddaddy and Hadessa. Aunt Anna sent these sunglasses that are sunflowers, and they are so big for Hadessa's head, but Granddaddy put them on, and he was entertaining Hadessa and Peter. As John was sharing, there are idols, spirit idols everywhere. You see them in each neighborhood. They'll be on the outside. They'll be on the inside. They'll be inside the homes. So that was one thing that was a regular sight. We enjoyed, again, another market. Smoothies in hand. Enjoying the night market and all the different eateries that were available. We took a ride one of our evenings from shopping at the night market back to our car on a tuk-tuk. And here are the Langtos riding on a train that's inside of their local mall. And so since it is so hot and humid there, they go there often to cool off because the only air conditioning in their house is in the bedroom.
Oh, my turn. All right, let's see if we also will get to attend about 4 different churches while we're in Thailand. And this is a Chinese church that we went to, Chiang Mai Chinese Church of Christ. It actually has a Korean pastor, and we enjoyed being able to worship with them. The pastor's name is Abraham. His wife's name is Sarah. Their son's name is John, not Isaac. Okay, okay. But Abraham and Sarah are good friends with Ashley and Joseph, and Sarah's always good about taking Peter or taking Hadessa and helping out, giving Ashley a little bit of break. We also were able to enjoy some fellowship there After the service, we had a meal together. But I really enjoyed getting to know Pastor Abraham, and for me, just Joseph and I had some time just to go over there with just him and I and Joseph, and just pray together, encourage him as a pastor. He's going through some health struggles, as well as just sometimes the frustrations in ministry. We're able to encourage him a little bit. This is the grandkids with Mau Mau, enjoying visiting there. And Abraham and Sarah with us. And this is Judy's turn.
Well, Ashley and Joseph attend 3 different churches. One is a large international church that's about 30 minutes away from them, and the other is the Chinese church there that you saw in the previous pictures. And Joseph goes there once a month to relieve the Sunday school teachers and teaches Sunday school for them. This is the 3rd church, but this church is called Refuge. And I feel like this is probably Ashley and Joseph's home spot. This is the church that was most comfortable to be in. We really enjoyed getting to know these people. There are missionaries there. There are internationals there. There are people from different places. So, Refuge.
It was our only Baptist in Chiang Mai. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
We felt at home there.
So, many missionaries use this as their home base, as John was sharing earlier, and go back and forth into close countries. This is an idol inside of Ashley and Joseph's neighborhood that we passed often as we were taking our neighborhood walks. On our neighborhood walk, the mountain was always in the scenery. Now, you wonder why I'm taking a picture of a light bulb.
We had a bright idea.
You know that we can't stay away from ministry even if we're on vacation. So one of the pictures, this picture is of the light bulb, is because John asked the pastor at Refuge what was one thing he could help do. Could I help you with anything around the church? And the pastor said, well, how are you on ladders? Well, we didn't go into that story, did we? But this became a family endeavor as we went to a few stores to find all the light bulbs that we needed for about a dozen, right? Lights that were out. And so we all went to the church to help change the light bulbs or supervise the job. This is a picture of durian fruit. Now, durian fruit. It's one of those fruits that's really stinky when they're peeling it. So they usually peel it outside. And then when you eat it, well, you may or may not like it. But it is a Thai favorite. John and I tried it in ice cream, and we decided that was not our favorite.
Right.
This is one of Hadessa and Joseph's favorite things. And they are on their weekly daddy and daughter date.
George, be glad to know there's Dairy Queen there.
John's in front of a few different types of delivery trucks that they have there.
Notice all the mirrors on there? You need those driving through.
Yes, the traffic's a little bit busy. This is a picture of the variety of fruit and vegetables. Outdoor market, which there are lots of little shops. Any way that someone can earn an income.
This is a non-province. Probably about the first week we were there, Joseph had asked me ahead of time. He said we were going to be taking a mission trip to an area. One of his coworkers, P. Chai. P is like a term of respect, kind of like in India, his uncle or aunt. So somebody a little bit older than you'd refer to them as P and whatever their name is. So P. Chai is a co-worker with Joseph, and he lives his family is in this region. He's from this region, about 4 hours east of Chiang Mai. And so we had the privilege to go to the non-province. That is actually toad, all right? So I had toad while I was there, like ribbit, ribbit, and I didn't croak. And it was actually spicy enough that I didn't even know what it was. They were like, okay. I actually asked Joseph 4 times what it was, and I kept on getting the same answer. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what it is. But our intent was going to Pichai's, literally his parents' house, and he asked his parents to invite any relatives, any neighbors. There is no church present in this area. And so Joseph and I shared our testimonies that night, shared the difference that Christ has made in our life, and just share the importance of knowing Christ and with each one that gathered there. Another thing we got to do before we left is give them each an audio Bible, because many people there cannot read. So we encourage them to read the Bible and follow up with any questions, because Joseph and Pichai are going every month, once a month, to this region to minister there. I missed one, I think. There we go. We stayed at an Airbnb while we were there. That was a breakfast. There's actually scrambled eggs wrapped up in a banana leaf with rice. We had some type of rice with shrimp and some other sea creatures probably in there. Anyway, yeah, it was interesting. And we had the privilege of going to a school the next morning. I should have prefaced this by saying our trip was moved up one day, and I saw the providential hand of God in that. The one day we went early allowed us to get there that night, share with Pichai's family. The next morning we got up and went to a friend of Pichai, who's a principal of the school, invited us to the school. That particular day seemed like a field day, but it was a field day that 11 different schools were gathering. 11 different principals from those schools were gathering. All the school board was gathering. Even the governor of that community was there. And who was on stage with all the dignitaries? Americans are highly honored and respected there for some reason. And Joseph and I are on the stage with each one. But the kids were great. They loved talking to Americans and getting a chance to visit with Americans. This is Pichai in the striped shirt, and you can see all the different jerseys of the kids representing different schools. The principals wore these tan jackets. The lady between Joseph and I is Pichai's friend that they grew up together, and she's actually the principal of 2 schools. And she was just happy to have us there. Many, many opportunities in the days to come to go back. They're like, come back anytime. Anytime you come back, you can share with our kids. Joseph, while he was there, had the privilege, you can see, he's jerseyed up, playing with the teachers, the school board. He got to play soccer. The night before, they found out I'd crushed my heel and they wouldn't let me play. So anyway, but we got to hang out with the kids, spend a lot of time there. But the principal also said at around noon, she says, she said to Pichai, I've got to go to a funeral today. You think John and Joseph would like to go to a Buddhist funeral with us? And we got to go to a Buddhist funeral. Quite interesting, but also quite sad to see the hopelessness. We were actually given the front row seat at the funeral. You think that's reserved for family? It's reserved for foreigners that come. And so there was nothing between except that space. About where the picture ends is where we were seated. And 10 Buddhist monks across the front chanting and seeing. They burn the casket and everything right there in front of you. But the principal's dad is this gentleman here in the red, and we went to his home before and after the funeral. Though he's Buddhist, he is very open. He knows and respects Pichai because of his faith, and he wanted to take us to another village. This man is the head man in his village. He took us to meet this other man who's the head man in his village. He's introducing Pichai to all these villages and giving them opportunities to go in and share the gospel. Well, it turns out the man in the blue, the head of this village, they have a problem. Their well is dried up, and 800 people in that village. Since we've visited there, Joseph and Pichai said we could come and put a well in. They now have a new well serving the people there in that village. So they can have physical water, but also the opportunity to return and share about the living water. And while back at the ranch,
Yeah.
Judy and Ashley,
That
okay.
was meanwhile.
Yeah, meanwhile, that's what they were doing back home. We're still in non-province. This is the principal and her husband, who is a police officer, and they invited us over for dinner that night. It was like 48 hours. It was nonstop packed. I didn't tell you when we went to get our black shirts so we could go to a funeral. We didn't go prepared to go to a funeral, so we went and bought black shirts. Joseph had the opportunity to pray with a girl in the store that we bought. I say store, it's a hut. And she says, when you come back, I want to hear more about Jesus. So opportunities abounding everywhere we went. People want us to come back, come back, come back. Welcome to pray. When you drive on the roads there, you are always welcome to pray. Okay, I just thought that was an interesting sign. These are some of the mountains and stuff that we're going through, and they get elephants' attentions with signs. No, that's actually an elephant crossing, a warning that there's an elephant crossing. Interesting. And back to leek tree. I'm not leek. Teak. Excuse me. Teak tree. Teak wood, like you have on your boats, is very common there, but they build with it. And then back to Judy and the kids.
Of course, we're still enjoying grandkids the whole time. Breakfast. We had opportunity. I don't know why that was, it was one of the things I wanted to try while I was there, but I really wanted to try red snapper. I'd not eaten it before, and I wanted to try it. So I thought, well, Thailand should have red snapper. Nope. They did not. And one of the restaurants that we were going to go to did not have it at that time. So it could be seasonal there, and I didn't know. Well, we went around the corner. We left that restaurant. We went around the corner to an Indian restaurant. And guess what we had? What do we have, Katie? Do you remember? Nope. Starts with a B. Huh? We did. We had biryani there. And so everyone enjoyed a nice Indian meal. You just never know. It's very international there. Here's the tuk-tuk driver taking a rest. It's hot there. You want a nap? All right.
This, I had the privilege, and I went not working. This is sabbatical, but Pichai asked if I would preach one Sunday, and so I had the privilege. I really found I like preaching barefoot, okay? So I might try it here sometime, but this was a house church, and there were about 12 people there, mostly new believers. So it was a real privilege to be able to go and share with them. While we were there, this lady she's the newest believer in the group. She came in and she saw Judy, and she looked up on her phone, Princess Di, and she's like, y'all look a lot alike. So I thought that was interesting. This couple here are as the area superintendent for the Church of Christ. He actually came that day, but this is, afterwards we had a meal and just enjoyed some fellowship together. There's the kitchen. Ladies appreciate your church kitchen. And then this is everybody. Here's Pichai again, his wife Rose, the district superintendent, his wife, and then all these are relatively new believers. And I want you to realize this, and this is one of the things that stood out to me the most. Pichai asked me, he said, pray for a pastor for this church. I said, well, it's obvious to me you're the pastor of this church. He says, I'm not a pastor. But Pichai has started 2 church plants. He has a heart for his village back in non-province. He's praying faithfully for God to raise up. But here, he doesn't consider himself a pastor, but he started 2 churches. He's going back in these areas. He's doing what every believer should be doing, sharing the gospel every chance he gets, and encouraging and discipling new believers. So pray for Pichai, pray for this church plant. I preached on the Great Commission. Joseph shared his testimony and asked how many, he said, John's going to be preaching on the Great Commission. How many of you have heard of Matthew 28, 18, 20? Nobody. So I changed my message. I was going to do a portion. I just did an overview. But that was our time there.
Hanging out at the mall. I said, oh, look at those pretty lights. Let's go take advantage of them. So that's why we took those pictures. Hanging out at home. And Hadassah just likes her little hat. She just thinks that is great. Our chunky little man. When we first arrived, Ashley said, I haven't had him in something other than a diaper for quite a while. And I said, well, you should dress that boy when you take him out. But he's happy. They're both very happy children. Again, just enjoying our time with them. Now, you know, we were told we weren't going to have hamburgers too much in Thailand, which is why we ate that big one in Israel before we left. But this saloon made the biggest burgers. And so they came from the land down under because it was owned by an Australian, if I do believe, if I remember. So we had beef burgers and onion rings from this place. We enjoyed tea with Ashley. We went out with, it was just she and the kids and us. And of course, it was kid-friendly because Hadassah wanted to be out and about playing with the kitchen toys that were there. And Peter, he wanted to be down crawling around. Well, John ordered a tea. You see the size of his tea? He was really disappointed.
I wanted a 32 ounce, you know.
We're used to American sizes. Here we are sitting outside of a Christian bookshop that's there. This is made out of a wooden, out of a log.
And they had a lot of English books in the Christian bookshop, so they scarf up some.
Here we are sitting on a big swing, taking advantage of the background and the scenery, waiting for a smoothie. We were in downtown Chiang Mai, and old part of the old city wall is there to the left. That's still remaining. And I saw these ladies. Now, I'm a foreigner, right? I'm a fawn. All right, so I can just go up and ask them things, right? So I did. I said, hey, may I take your picture? And so I took their picture, and then they were like, oh, would you take our picture? And so I took their picture. And so we're chatting back and forth, and I said, are you going to a wedding? Is somebody getting married? They're like, oh, no. And they were laughing amongst themselves. And they said, no, we're just dressed up to hang out together for the day. Watch out for the motorcycle mama. Well, I went to English class with Joseph one evening, and Ashley had the van. And so, because she had the kids and John. And so Joseph's like, well, how are we getting home? So we borrowed a helmet, and I rode with Joseph. Here we are again, not intentionally being involved in missions or visiting with missionaries, but there are so many there, and they need encouragement, and God just brought several along our way. So I'm not going to probably remember all the story, but these people are Mark and Denise, and they've been in Thailand for several years. They work with Avant Ministries in Chicago, and they were asked.
Kansas City.
Yeah. Kansas City, Missouri. Sorry, wrong state. Anyhow, they were recently asked if they would return to the States to work in the home office. Did I get it all?
You got it?
Okay. Just check. More grandparent time. Enjoying pool. Motorbikes. Everybody's got them. If you can't have a car, you have a motorbike so that you can get around. A little bit easier than walking. Walking is also very common, but you see that this parking lot is full, and it's almost always full. We're having a photo taken with a friendly bear that Hadessa was loving to play with. Hadessa sleeping in her bed.
We wore
By
out.
the way, she shared her room with us the whole month. And she could not wait to wake up because as soon as she even thought we might be awake, she peeked and she would be up and at it. Like I said, she didn't sleep till 9 o'clock. Here we are enjoying a dinner out. This is the gentleman to the right in the striped shirt and his daughter are two individuals that Ashley and Joseph have been ministering to and trying to encourage. His name is Muhammad and her name is Meta. But again, doing ministry. This is fun after church. Hadessa loves going to this room and playing with the toys that she doesn't have in the nursery. Then one of Ashley and Joseph's good friends, also missionary, really enjoys photography, so she took these next several pictures. Hadessa and Joseph are in traditional wear. By the way, the outfit that I'm wearing is traditional for a married woman to wear there for a formal occasion. Unmarried women wear a one-piece outfit. They started getting tired and cranky.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time at the mall because they had so many different eateries there. It was always good trying different food. This is one of the, what is the word for nannies there? Mabon, that lives down the street. She is a believer. She's really good friends with Ashley. They're very close to the same age. She loves just coming to spend time, and she's always helping out with watching the kids if Ashley and Joseph want to go out. My favorite person to go on safari with. And then we had the privilege to go to with the Chinese church was taking a mission trip a couple hours away to a Bible Institute to do some work there, and they had a team from South Korea come in, so we were eating Chinese, South Korean, kimchi, all kinds of good stuff, and just seeing how God's working in these young people's lives. They were doing some drama and music for us. We got to do some work projects, and some of the team got to do work projects. We end up doing KP duty. Hadessa commandeered my hat. But it's Berea Bible Training Center, and can you think of where Berea comes from? Have you heard of it in Scripture? Acts 17, verses 10 to 12 says this: As soon as it was night, the brothers sent Paul and Silas away to Berea. On arriving there, they went to a Jewish synagogue. Now the Bereans were of more noble character than the Thessalonians, for they received a message of great eagerness and examined the Scriptures every day to see if what Paul said was true. So I've always loved I thought this is a great name for a Bible Institute because the Bereans studied God's Word. They didn't just take Paul's word for it. They examined the Scriptures. Like I told you, if I start preaching something other than God's Word, what time is it? Time for me to go, time to get a new preacher, right? Okay? The importance of studying God's Word and making sure what you're hearing is true. Come kind of old school here, crushing stuff up with and see Judy cutting up onions, and we got to cut up some type of fish loaf. We ate all kinds of things. This is one of their rice processors. They grow their own rice. This is Mau Mau again, one of Hadassah and Peter's friends. A lot of people rode in the back of the pickup trucks. Hadassah, waiting for Grandma to wake up. That little ball she's holding is some type of sport they have there. It's kind of like volleyball, but you do it with your feet. And my body just doesn't move in that direction, because you have to. We got to go to the Chiang Mai Zoo. We read all the reviews. They weren't very good, but we enjoyed the Chiang Mai Zoo. It's spread out, but you have to take a golf cart around. We had enough of us. As Judy said, Muhammad here and his daughter Meta, they're from Egypt. And Joseph's dad led Muhammad to the Lord a few years back, and Joseph has really been investing a lot of time in discipling him and encouraging him. He's going through a very difficult separation with his wife and difficulties there. We got to have PK, who is Ashley and Joseph's Maybon. She is so good with the kids. The kids love seeing her come. We all got to go to the zoo together. So here we are. Some zoo pics. Every time there's field trips there, and I just loved it. Every time a bus came by, I would wave because the kids got so excited to see a foreigner. I'd start trying to talk to them in English, and I'd just wave, and they would just light up. And so...
yeah, we were saying hi to all the buses.
This is a nearby waterfall we went to. And back to Judy.
Well, what do you do with a child when they're bored in the car and they're tired and they won't fall asleep? You pull out your camera and take some pictures. So here I am entertaining Hadassah because she's getting tired and cranky. I let her put my sunglasses on because that's fun. Ashley gave us a gift when we first arrived. She says, I've been wanting to give this to you since Christmas. And it was from this shop. So this bulletin board is in a shop, and the shop has different kinds of crafts. Now, I purchased a necklace, but they make a variety of different things. And these individuals on the bulletin board have been rescued from human trafficking. And so there is an organization there, and they come alongside these people that they have helped to rescue. Some of them putting their lives on the line. And rescuing these people, they bring them in, they care for them, they educate them, they teach them a trade or a skill, or they might already know one, and they just allow them to use it. And their things that they make are sold in the shop. So I was just like, wow, that's so powerful, because it is a huge problem nowadays. It also allows them to be a breadwinner, right? Because they need to earn an honest living. This is Joseph and Pichai. Pichai has been helping Joseph a lot, not only at work, but with his immigration. The process of immigration goes from every 3 months to every 6 months. And so Joseph is now there for 6 months, legally. Here we are. We have come to visit a children's home. And so we're just meeting the folks that are there. A new bamboo walkway. Ashley was having Hadassah was having a little bit trouble navigating that because they were kind of rolling a little dab because they weren't fully in place. Here she is entertaining herself. All right, so also notice the bamboo fencing. Hadassah trying to climb the bamboo ladder. Granddad was going to get on it, and I told him no, he wasn't allowed. Oh, what happened to the other one?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we had a picture of planting rice fields. Here we are. This was my favorite part. We are feeding the baby elephant.
That's a 2-year-old elephant.
This elephant's 2 years old. We got out of the car. I didn't know what to expect, but I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, it's reality. Feeding the elephants, because if you feed them, they know you are friendly. Once you've been feeding them, they will allow you to stand between them. You see that we are standing close to them. If we had not fed them, we would not be allowed to do that. They eat 1/10 of their body weight every day. John's sitting on elephant's knee. We learned how to give the commands for them to sit and to stand. Here I am beating a piece of wood. Well, you might wonder why I am, but we all got to beat on that piece of wood. It was a tree that is really soap when you beat it up. So we were able to beat up the wood, went over and washed the elephants down. So giving them a bath helps keep the parasites away. The younger ones were not allowed to ride. Here we all are on the elephants. I got to ride Grandma. Her name was Memory when they first rescued her, and then she became Mary. John on his elephant. You literally sat right behind the ears. Ashley got Mama. Elephant kisses. Nothing like it. Little bit slobbery and sandy. Hadassah's still not sure, even after we've been there for a while, that she really wants an elephant kiss. That was a great time. And that was a ministry I'll let John tell you about that actually was connected with the children's home. So here we are.
Yeah, the guys that have the elephants, and they'll have different groups come through. They were thrilled. We were the only ones they had with the elephants that day. But at the end, he says, we do ministry. And it turns out I'd already talked to another missionary that Joseph works with that's been discipling Joseph, preparing him for the next steps of going to Israel. But this man had told me that it was actually the guy who heads up the elephants that invited him to a village to go and share the gospel. And he got to pray over a witch doctor in this particular village. He prayed over this witch doctor and said that God asked that God would reveal himself to this man, see his need for him. About a month or so later, the elephant guy called this missionary again and said, the witch doctor is asking for the old gray-haired guy to come back. He was sick. He was laying on the hut of his floor about to die in just crazy way. This missionary went in and prayed for him. As he finished praying, the man sat up. I mean, it looked like something right out of Acts. The man sat up immediately, and God healed him. Him and his wife and son prayed to receive Christ. Next time he went back to the village, the former witch doctor and his wife and son are holding their baptismal certificates. They didn't recognize the hut because all the idols were gone, and now they were meeting in there as a church. And it all started with somebody who's just helps people see elephants, but not just see elephants. He goes in and uses, the opportunities God gives him to share Christ with those he comes in contact with.
So Hadessa and I are, again, we're at the children's home. We get on a trampoline because it's quiet right now and the children are still in school. Hadessa does not like the trampoline when it's rowdy. So she and I are on there gently jumping up and down, and she's trying to understand the feel of it.
Here we are at the children's home. Trying to remember, probably about 20 children in this home. I could recount for you all the different things that these kids have gone through. But Pastor Kirasan and his wife have been ministering there for some 20 years, continue to minister to each of these children. These 4 girls at the table, it's their birthday, so we got to celebrate their birthdays with them. Because I was a pastor, they asked me to pray over them and share a few words with them. So you just always have to be ready. They're like, is that all you want to share? I was like, oh, yeah, that's all. But we had a great time celebrating with the children. Pastor Kirasan loves playing the guitar. And you can see the joy on his face, and him and his wife serving the kids there. Got to play soccer with the kids and different things. So this girl wanted me to squat down because I kept on blocking all of her shots. We didn't just wear out the kids, they wore us out. There's taking a little nap, more time with the kids. This children's home itself is a ministry of Empower International. One of the things I saw was Operation Blessing and put in the well. Operation Blessing through Regent University have put in the well there for them. These are the newest girls. These twins here were the newest girls to the home. And here's Judy and I with Pastor Kirasan and his wife. And there's Hadessa sitting on an elephant in Prawn Village, which is, Prawn means foreigners, the local little shopping center. Solomon. This young boy is Solomon. Right before we're leaving, he was in the midst of trying to get into college. He is actually from Burma. Met a lot of people from Burma because you don't hear it on the news. There's all kinds of fighting. The government's killing people left and right. In fact, one of the children's home that Joseph went into that we didn't get to go to while we were there, Burma said, send the kids back, everything's good. And the majority of those children were killed. So there's a lot of needs. This boy's from Burma. We were praying for him to get into college, and he got into college. He was trying to get all his transcripts and stuff set up, but that we prayed with him, and we saw God answer prayer while we were there. And I will also say this about Burma. One of Ashley and Joseph's neighbors that we got to go out to dinner with, they're not believers yet, but Ashley and Joseph were taking opportunities to share with them. And they had to flee for their lives out of Burma. They are actually journalists. And a lot of the missionaries, we couldn't show their pictures on here because of danger of going in and out of different countries. And again, even these neighbors of Ashley and Joseph, they fled for their life. They cannot go back. But they adopted 3 or 4 girls and are ministering to them. So. You see why I didn't wear mine? It's kind of tight on my outfit.
Yes. So PK made these tops, these tunics for John and I. She loves doing seamstress when she's at home and relaxing. She also then came back another week later with a skirt for me. And I was like, wow, that was very generous. But as you can see, Peter loves her. One of our last couple of days, we went to Chinatown, because Chinatown's everywhere. And we were looking around in the shops, and we
He's actually buying
here.
the shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah, his top that he has on is from here. But this little boy was born within a week of Peter, and so they're about the same size. The same age. But we just thought it was fun because Peter and Hadessa can make friends anywhere. Remember the English class I went to with Joseph? Well, it was the end of the semester and they got to be they were tested. We went out to eat at an English-speaking restaurant, and Joseph gave them the GPS, and they had to listen to the directions in English and tell him which way to go. So I think we wandered around for a good 30 minutes before we got there. And then they had to order their food and their drink in English.
These children are, these young people are also children that grew up in the children's home that we went to.
So, how do I use? Oh, she works with Joseph in the home office. Therefore, Empower. She was a child in the children's home.
But she's actually Pastor Kirasan's daughter.
Yeah, she's Pastor Kirasan's daughter. Thank you. All right, so well, Joseph thought it would be fun, and we even talked about it before we left, to have a high tea. Wow, okay, that's fine. Well, the kids were sick for a week or two when we first got there with some things that they just didn't want to have somebody come in and take care of their kids. So we ended up canceling that 2 or 3 times. So I was like, okay, well, this is the last week we're here, so it works or it doesn't work. Well, we got to do it Thai style, high tea. So, and who do we get to meet? Nathan and Laurel. And Nandri was there as well. So they were there for a conference, and we were able to meet up with them, and they enjoyed high tea with us at the Shangri-La Hotel. So also, it was Nandri's birthday, so we were able to throw in a birthday cake at the last minute and sing happy birthday to her. We went to the highest spot in Thailand. Well, we thought we were going to walk a trail, but when we got out of the car, well, it was nice and chilly there. It was 17 degrees Celsius. Well, you might not think that's chilly, except for that we've been in 80 or 90 degree weather, and now it's 62 and a half. Also, it was really buggy, lots of bugs, and then it started to rain. So we're like, nope, let's go back in the car. But it's the highest point in Thailand. We went down the hill a little bit, and we came to this falls. This is where Joseph proposed to Ashley back in 2019. So it was a memory for them and our first time. Beautiful falls. This was the morning we were getting ready to leave, and we're just spending extra time, once again, with the grandkids. PK, she probably likes it. She gets to go on all these field trips with us. Here we are having lunch with missionaries again.
This is another missionary with Avant Ministries that we get to. They work with at-risk children, street children. And so we squeezed in like lunch right before we're flying out at 6 o'clock. We've been trying to connect with them, so it was just really neat to be able to connect and hear about their ministry. And he asked us that day to pray for a girl who was kind of aging out of their group, that to get connected somewhere. And I can report to you, he got back to me after I've been in the States and said that God answered that prayer. She's well connected with another ministry that's helping her.
Obviously, it was not a dry eye when we left. Here we are on the plane heading to Bangkok, and Hadessa was bawling her eyes out, and John went over to her door and told her bye, and she's like, what?
She did.
So I sent this picture to Ashley, and I said, show Hadessa that we are being sad together. They actually had to take the children to the mall to play and have some relaxing time so that they could gather themselves together. And Ashley said she didn't take down the air mattress in that bedroom for a month until a month after we left because she couldn't stand the sight of it. Anyhow, we just want to thank you for allowing us to go. When we got home, because once we came back through the return trip, we were exhausted. And it was 12:30 at night before we reached Malfa. So we were really glad to fall asleep in our bed that night. But we do want to thank you again for allowing us to have that time away.
You know, as I think about the trip, it was just wonderful to be able to spend time with the kids, see their ministry firsthand, be able to pray with them about the next steps as they transition to Israel. Continue to pray. January 12th is when they move to Israel and start Arabic classes. But I can see how God's used this year. I didn't see it to begin with. I'll be honest, before they left, I didn't see how God was going to work all this out. And I just said, Lord, we just trust you, however. Do whatever you see fit needs to be done. But it's just a joy to be able to be there and be able to visit with so many different missionaries and ministries going on. Was just icing on the cake to be able to connect, to be able to see the Conrads there. When we went, they were having a conference there, and we got to see a missionary we saw in Cameroon back in 2012 when we were visiting Cameroon, who adopted a baby girl. And we pulled up to pick up the Conrads. Who was there but Jenny, Jesse, and this little girl, this little baby that she had adopted is now a 12-year-old young lady. And we got to hug their necks and see them. And it's just so neat, so many connections. While we were visiting with missionaries from Avant in Thailand, Joe and Pauline and the girls were out in Kansas City visiting with my friend who's now the president of Avant Ministries, and it's also where Eric and Pauline are serving from. So just a small world, and I'm texting back and forth from a friend from high school. And I'm in Thailand, he's in Kansas City, but I'm connecting with his missionaries, and he's connecting with our people from the church. Just to see God working in so many different ways has been wonderful. So thank you again for allowing us to go. We're excited to be back and excited about what God's going to do in the future for open doors for ministry there as well. So let me just pray for us. I'm going to ask Debbie to come up and lead us in our invitation. Father, I'm so grateful for this church family, for the love for you, for the love for us, for our love for each other. And Lord, that we've had this opportunity to go to Thailand to visit Ashley and Joseph and the children, and God, just to see all the work that you're doing around the world. We are so grateful that the gospel is going forth, that lives are being transformed for eternity. And God, give us a heart, Lord, to share you with each one that we come in contact with. Lord, I pray that you'll help us to be open and sensitive to those you put in our place right here. We don't have to go around the world to share the gospel. Help us to share the gospel with our friends, our neighbors, our family, our co-workers. And Lord, help us be obedient here and abroad as you lead us to other opportunities. So Lord, we just are so grateful for your love for us, so grateful for this church family and their focus on getting the gospel out. And Lord, I pray for Michaela, Lord, as she goes for her training, as she leaves the end of